Verse 625. All things are unborn and have nothing to do with being and non-being. All is nothing but mind and is delivered from discrimination. This harks back to the very first video, where I began with a quote from D.T. Suzuki. And it's about a reality which can be recognized only when we look beyond the realm of discrimination, which is ruled by laws of being and non-being. So this phrase, being and non-being, or the rules of being and non-being, is one which we might not feel any automatic affinity for. But it's obviously something fundamental. The laws of being and non-being are something which we're operating in accordance with from moment to moment. So it's important to be able to recognize this. And I've looked into this now and again through the course of these videos, what is meant by being and non-being, built up by the rules of discrimination, built up by the process of discrimination. And it's all to do with constructing our reality. I've often thought it was quite unfortunate that when we go to sleep at night, when our mind is unbound in its infinite creative potential, I'm talking about dreams, we have the opportunity to dream of anything. We could dream of heavenly realms. We could dream of hobnobbing with the gods. We could dream of meditating in sublime bliss. You know, there's no limit to what wonders we can conjure up in our dreams. And yet, what do we usually dream of? We dream of our embarrassment at being caught in public with our trousers down. We'd forgotten to put on our trousers or something. Or we get involved in a discussion with a monkey or something like that. Or we maybe even have frightening dreams, terrifying dreams. Question is, why can't we be having wonderful dreams? And I'm sure you can come up with all sorts of answers in reply to that, to do with our unconscious or subconscious or whatever. But I would suggest to you it's just simply because we're trapped within a limited mental framework. Whether you want to call it unconsciously or not, perhaps we're not aware of the liberating possibilities of what we can get up to in our dreams. And this is how we are. We are limited by our mental constructs. We are limited by our understanding. We're limited by the way that we think. And what's this got to do with being and non-being? Well, this is the process by which we construct our limiting reality. We decide what is real and what is not real. And as I said, I've looked into this in the past, But there's a particular angle which I think is pertinent within the context of the next verse or so, the next few verses or so. And that is, why do we do this? Why do we construct a particular picture of reality? Well, the obvious answer is for our survival. We construct a picture of reality rather like the way we might construct a map from getting to A to B. We need some kind of picture of reality in order to get by. And that tends to be as far as we go. We want to build better and better maps. And these maps might be scientific in nature, they might be religious in nature, they might even be spiritual in nature. Some people get by very well with religious maps or spiritual maps. They all have one motivating drive though beneath them, and they're driven by being and non-being, what is real and what is not, or the notion of what is real and what is not. As I said, they're kick-started by our need for survival. And they're simply extensions of that. They're extensions of our need for control. This is what science gives us. The scientific spirit is very pure in its sense of inquiry, but it's justified in terms of its technology, which gives us more control over our environment. And this is what religion does. We want to get the gods or God on our side. We want our undertakings to be blessed by God because we want them to be successful. We want somehow to control God. This is the assumption of religious people, that somehow they can work God. If we do this and we do this, we'll get God on our side, God carrying out our will. Although we'll say that we are carrying out God's will. Basically, you want to get God on your side. It's about control. And the same with people who regard themselves as spiritual and lead a spiritual lifestyle. Often very nice people. I don't want to knock them, but in these videos we're talking about something different. We're not talking about being spiritual. Spiritual people are often very concerned about the nature of the planet, and they also want to eat well, and they want their kids to grow up well, so they've got very good values. But again, this is all about control. It's about getting the best for yourself, your nearest and dearest, and others. Getting the best for future generations. So it's all about control. I don't know if you'll agree with me in this or not, but isn't all our activity about control to some extent? This is what being and non-being means. Being is about being in control, as opposed to non-being. We haven't got any influence. So we're driven by this. We're driven to control things to our best advantage, even if we're altruistically inclined and are thinking in terms of the advantage of others. We're still thinking in terms of control. So when we engage in the world, we're engaged in control to some extent. And this is how we can understand being and non-being. So to step back from this, to step back from being and non-being, to practice enlightenment, we go beyond this. We still do what's necessary for our survival. We're not going to go into some kind of suicidal inertia. It's just that it doesn't dominate our lives anymore. I got into a little debate quite recently with a Buddhist on Facebook. I'm never quite sure if that's a good idea or not. The debate didn't get very far because this Buddhist denounced me as deluded, which I suppose was a little upsetting. But actually, it was also quite liberating, because this Buddhist obviously had a particular agenda, and I wasn't the least bit interested in engaging with it. So I actually found it quite liberating to be labelled deluded, and in a way I'm grateful to him for that. Now the point is, I think in the past I might have wanted to win the argument and make this person see things the way I see them. But there wasn't any possibility of that, and I let go of that. And I really was quite happy to leave it at that I am deluded. I'd no wish to control the argument. So this is quite an important one. This Buddhist obviously had a certain idea of how things are. And I suspect he wanted to spread his message. He's written quite a few books, I think. He wants to take control of Buddhism in a way, and to say this is what it is. And I wished him good luck with that. He seemed to be very clear about what Buddhism is and what it isn't. So he's applying the rules of being and non-being. And he's obviously not interested in stepping outside that. So I have to leave him to get on with it, even though I'm labelled deluded. So in leaving all that, we come back to mind. Mind with a capital M. And mind is delivered from discrimination. It's almost reminiscent of the Christian language. Mind is delivered from evil. Discrimination is evil. I wouldn't go as far as that, but it's something we need to take a holiday from. And we can take a holiday from it by opening ourselves up to mind. We're not concerned with constructing reality anymore. Because the reality we construct is in accordance with our own moods, our own psychological disposition. And then the reality we construct reinforces these moods, this disposition. We can drop all that and start feeling wonderful things. I couldn't help feeling very wonderful at being labelled deluded. Part of me was a bit upset. It's not very nice. But that was just the ego. I decided just to enjoy it and to love it. To love it, yes. I thought, what's going on here? It's just so nice. To feel wonderfully liberated at being called deluded. But isn't it great to feel liberated no matter what's going on? As I said, there isn't really any reason why we can't be having the most wonderful dreams at night. It's just me and my mind, or me and consciousness. Let's go for it. When we fall asleep at night, let's slip into the most amazing wonderland. Let's slip into heavenly realms. In fact, let's do it when we're awake. Let's feel wonderful no matter what is going on. We have the capacity for these wonderful feelings. But why make them dependent on anything? These feelings are here. Feelings of wonder, feelings of joy, feelings of bliss. Do I need something out there to give me permission to access them? This is mind.